Hello and welcome to the Feminine Millionaire Show. I'm your host, Polly Alexander. I'm a success coach, healer, creative, and future millionaire. If creating money and success in a spiritual and feminine and joyful way is your goal, this show is for you. Let's all rise together. Hello and welcome to episode 81 of The Feminine Millionaire. 3 signs the people around you are bringing you down. So right now I have a lot on my plate with some changes in the personal and professional support I usually have in place in my life and work. I'm handling a heavy caseload in both my personal and professional life with less support than usual. I can't do it all alone. Now that's both true and false. In the short term, yes, I can handle it, but long term, I require support to maintain a balanced and joyful life. But I had a big realization recently when I parted company with one of my support team members. And that was that the wrong person is worse than no person. Yeah, the wrong person is worse than no person. Now, energy is everything. And my energy had been drained really subtly without me fully realizing by this person. They were taking more than they were giving, energetically speaking. So I realized, Teddy Pom Pom is snoring really loudly. I am recording this for you by a giant Himalayan salt crystal that I bought in Valencia and crazily shipped over on the boat. It took about a month to get here. So he's literally snoring right next to where I'm recording, so he would like to apologise. He gets very relaxed when I do recordings and very content. Okay, thank you, Teddy Pom Pom. So, my energy had been drained really subtly without me realising, and it got to this point where I realised this person was taking more from my energy than they were giving to my energy. They were projecting their stuff onto me and slowing my flow. Now, this person wasn't always like that, but they were at a point where they were distracted by some personal issues and making a lot of mistakes. And they brought that energy, all that energy, into my business and my work. So the thing is, sometimes when someone's draining your energy, it can be quite subtle. So on the surface, much of the time they were functioning fine. Then they would make mistakes that were so incomprehensible that even they could not explain them. And I, being a lovely, kind empath, was granting them compassion for one mistake after another and forgiving again and again. And then my psychic told me they were treating me like their mother. They were looking for me to sort things out, provide answers, but also I spotted being argumentative with me like a teenager might with their mother. Oh yes, I knew what I needed to do. This year has been all about boundaries for me, and these situations are showing up everywhere. And because when you work in self-development, you'll find that the paths you're on are mirrored by the paths your clients on. So this boundaries piece is also showing up for many of my clients. So here was just another boundary that needed to be set. So 5 signs the people around you are bringing you down. So the first one is, after spending time with them, you feel tired, exhausted, negative, or heavy. especially when you compare how your energy was when you arrived to see them versus when you left them. That's often a great way to find out. Are they uplifting you or are they bringing you down? The second way is that they complain a lot. The glass is always half empty. Things are never quite right for them. There's always a problem. You may notice they blame others or criticize others a lot, and they're not taking full responsibility for their lives and happiness. They may be stuck in a poor me victim state. I think we have all experienced people, family members, partners, friends, colleagues, where we recognize this type of behavior. Maybe we've even been in it ourselves at one point in our lives. The third sign is when they criticize you or your decisions and you notice that they can't be authentically happy for you or really make space to see and hear you and celebrate you. And if they're criticizing you, you probably notice they criticize others too. I always remember being on a date once, and the man I was with started criticizing what women were wearing in the street, commenting on what they're wearing and not in a complimentary fashion. And it was a red flag for me. I really noticed that, and I actually called him out on his behavior and said, I don't want to hear you say that. That's not pleasant. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. And he kind of backtracked and tried to defend himself. But typically, this comes from feeling unworthy yourself, and that self-criticism gets projected out onto others. Sign number 4, people that are always jealous. So they don't celebrate your successes with you, and they don't have the ability to be truly happy for you. They may be jealous of your success at work or in your business, your looks, perhaps your lifestyle, or your family or relationships. And the 5th sign is really just that you don't like how you feel after spending time with them. We all know how amazing it feels when we've spent time with someone that has brought us joy, when we've laughed, we've swapped stories, we've felt seen and heard, we've felt valued, listened to, we've felt uplifted by their plans, their adventures, their breakthroughs. And this is the type of energy that we want to be becoming more aware of. So the biggest sign is how you feel after spending time with them. So often, as kind, compassionate, giving empaths, we hold on to a relationship that's taking more than it's giving for far too long. We give others too many second chances, and we take on responsibility for other people's stuff, for other people's shortcomings, feelings, or problems. We have poor boundaries, and our desire to be kind and forgiving of other people puts us in a state of tolerating less than we deserve. The result is we end up surrounding ourselves with lower level energy than we are worthy of and even a match for. Now, when you grow up as a child being criticized and judged or put down, it becomes normal to expect people to treat you that way. So as you heal your childhood, you will start to shift what you're available for from the people around you. Perhaps you find you've been tolerating people that complain all the time, or who always have personal dramas going on, that always seem to overshadow whatever you might bring to the conversation, or whatever you might have going on. Or perhaps you've been tolerating too little from romantic relationships, not getting your needs met in partnership. That's been the theme of the week this week in my private client work. Getting to the roots of these problems and transforming the pattern is the kind of work I do in my programs and my one-to-one work. So here's 5 tips to help you get started on shifting this pattern where it's showing up in your life. And the first thing to say is that it will show up for everyone. So there is no shame on observing this play out. When you're kind and empathic, you will always attract people who are needy or people who love your energy, known as energy vampires, and they like to suck that lovely, positive, caring, loving, compassionate energy. And it's your job, as I'm about to say, to set boundaries. Okay, so 5 tips. Number 1, become aware of how you feel after spending time with and interacting with this person. Do an energy audit of the people in your life. Who's lifting you up? Who's dragging you down? This is a great exercise to do on an annual basis. Number 2, be prepared to fly solo for a while until the right match comes in. Now, this applies to friendships as well as romantic relationships. My clients often ask me when they break up with friends or when they set boundaries that mean friendships change, that they are worried that they won't have any friends, or who will they hang out with now? But sometimes we have to create a vacuum to make space for the new before the new can come in. And so sometimes you might have to be prepared to be on your own some of the time until you attract in the right people. But you absolutely will. And when you do attract in those new higher level friendships, partners, relationships, you'll be so glad that you set those boundaries and waited. So tip number 3 is to set boundaries. And there's always going to be people that you can't cut off completely. Sometimes you may need to cut off, and it's easier with a friendship. But sometimes it could be a family member or perhaps a parent of your child. And so the relationship is going to be ongoing. So set boundaries around how often you see them and how much time you spend with them. Instead of spending a whole day, go for lunch. Instead of going for lunch, go for a coffee. If it's on the phone and someone is pouring out all their woes and troubles and having a big rant complaining, politely excuse yourself. Say you have a commitment and you have to go. Or set an expectation at the start of the call about how much time you have available. Tip number 4 is do not respond or feed the energy vampire. So you might find that you benefit from pulling back your empathy and support, just being still, just listening, because when you're not feeding them, they will get bored and go to someone else that can feel sorry for them, that can support them, that can give them their energy if you are not. And tip number 5 is remember every situation is happening for you. What are you learning? So I'm going to circle back to what I started with today. What was I learning with this team member? Well, the first thing I was learning was that it was time to move on. Most things have an expiry date. And that was the expiry date. It was time to hire a higher level person that had the ability to support me in a bigger and better way. And it was time to set a powerful boundary, to draw a line in the ground and say no to bad behaviour. And in doing so, I was claiming a higher standard for myself. We get in life what we are willing to accept and tolerate. When you say no to things, when you put a line in the ground, when you say, I am no longer available to tolerate this, you set a higher standard and you welcome in a higher frequency of energy, of behavior, of people into your life. I hope today has been powerful for you. I've really enjoyed diving into this super important topic that touches all of us. I would love to hear your takeaways. You can DM me on Instagram at Polly_Alexander. I would love to hear from you. I also love it when you screenshot the episode when you're listening to it and share on your Instagram stories. Thank you for being here. Have a wildly abundant week. See you again next week. Bye for now. Hi, and thank you for joining me for this episode of The Feminine Millionaire. If you enjoyed the show, please make sure that you subscribe so you automatically get the new episodes every week. And I would absolutely love it if you left me a review. I invite you to sign up for my free gift, a powerful success meditation, which contains incredible energy work that helps you rework your limiting beliefs around money and success on a deep subconscious level. This is so powerful and it creates instant shifts. I've had many emails about how powerful it is. So just go to polyalexander.com/success-meditation or click on the link below this episode. Online, you'll find me on social media on Instagram. Thank you so much for being here. I send you all so much love and I look forward to seeing you here again next week.